This is the Real Estate Fun Game for Land Use. Welcome back. Here are your instructions. For each question, the answer will appear. You provide the question, just like in that very famous TV game show. You'll get 3 seconds to come up with the answer. Keep track of right and wrong just so you can measure progress. Run this fun game as many times as it takes until you're ready for prime time. Are you ready? Question 1. The first process to happen in land development. What is land acquisition? Question 2. The second step in the process of land development. What is subdivision? Question 3. The third step in the land development process. What is development? Question 4. This is the fourth step of the land development process. What is construction? Question 5. In addition to preserving property values, public land use controls are enacted to do this. What is to assure an orderly pattern of growth? Question 6. In addition to assuring an orderly pattern of growth, public land use controls are enacted to do this. What are preserved property values? Question 7. This is the government right which enables public land use control. What is police power? Question 8. Public land use controls are established primarily at this level. What is city and county? Question 9. The principal mechanism of public control of land use. What are zoning ordinances? Question 10. Of the location of structures, density of occupancy, cost of buildings, and uses of land, this is the one that is not regulated through zoning ordinances. What is cost of buildings? Question 11. This is a restriction on the location of a structure relative to the road it fronts on. What is the setback line? Question 12. This type of zone may be subject to hazards such as earthquakes or floods. What is a special study zone? Question 13. To build an earthquake fault zone, the owner may be required to do this. What is obtain a study by a licensed geologist? Question 14. Future growth is regulated by basing local zoning ordinances on this type of plan. What is the master plan? Question 15. On-site inspection and this type of permit are ways that enforcement of zoning ordinances is accomplished. What are occupancy permits? Question 16. Enforcement of zoning ordinances is accomplished through on-site inspection, occupancy, and this type of permit. What is building? Question 17. When a zoning regulation is implemented after the property is built, it sometimes results in this type of use. What is non-conforming? Question 18. This is what an owner must do whose property is a non-conforming use of land. What is do nothing? Non-conforming uses are usually subject to a grandfather clause. Question 19. The provision that allows a property to remain in a non-conforming use when a zoning ordinance is changed. What is a grandfather clause? Question 20. This is usually allowed under a grandfather clause. What is continuation of current use? Question 21. Permission to be exempt from a specific requirement with a pre-existing zoning category is provided through this. What is a variance? Question 22. When a variance is issued, this can be said about the zoning of the property. What is the zoning remains the same? Question 23. This is the way a change in the zoning master plan is done. What are zoning amendments? Question 24. This is changing the zoning to a less active or intensive use. What is downzoning? Question 25. This is changing the zoning to a more active or intensive use. What is upzoning? Question 26. The rezoning of small areas of land in a particular neighborhood. What is spot zoning? Question 27. When zoning is changed and the owner is adversely affected financially, the owner is entitled to this. What is no compensation or damages? Question 28. Building codes are made possible by the government's right of this. What is police power? Question 29. This is the process that sets acceptable construction standards for building. What are building codes? Question 30. This is a test to determine the ability of soil to absorb water. What is the percolation test? Question 31. Private land use controls may be initiated through these. What are deed restrictions? Question 32. Another name for deed restrictions. What are restrictive covenants? Question 33. Deed restrictions are often placed on the property by the subdivider or this. What is the developer? Question 34. Deed restrictions must not do this. What is violate existing ordinances? Question 36. A deed restriction which prevents the owner from selling or otherwise conveying property is this. What is illegal? Question 37. If a zoning ordinance and a deed restriction have different restrictions on a particular feature of a given property, this is the one that receives precedence. What is the more restrictive? Question 38. This is the action that's required to enforce a deed restriction. What is to bring the suit in court? Question 39. This is the entity that enforces deed restrictions. Who are the property owners? Question 40. If a new owner acquires property with deed restrictions, this is what happens to the restrictions. What is binding on the new owner? Question 41. This is what it takes to change a deed restriction. What is court action? Question 42. Deed restrictions based on race, color, sex, religion, or natural origin are considered this. What is discriminatory and illegal? That's it for land use. Click on some of our other tests as a fun, fast way to learn your real estate terminology.